see that it's a statue, but don't have to make it out for what it is. If it's a good statue or a bad statue, you don't have to have none of that. It does have to have dimensions right here, though. Don't have to have no kind of shadow in there other than what's in there already. As far as we know, it's a statue of whatever it wants to be. Now that we got our statue in there, or a statue, some sort of statue, whatever, we can highlight it just a tad, just a small tad, because obviously the light is going to be on it, so we can highlight here pieces and there pieces, and not the whole thing. I don't want it to be completely suggestive. I mean completely seen. I want it to be just, more suggestive than anything. Like most people see faces in a statue, or something that's I don't know. I'd rather it be something vague, something you have to look at and be captivated by. Now, since I got two things right here, I need one thing right in here. What can it be? It can be a small branch, or what can it be? What could it be? What could it be? Well, let's decide here. What should it be, folks? Let's take a step away and I'll look through your eyes. What could be right there? That will suggest that space. Well, let's try this. Sap green. I'm using sap green. Viridian. Black. Grumbucker red. Let's try. So if there's two things right here, there needs to be one thing somewhere in here. So let's do this. Let's suggest there's some sort of little bush. That's right in here. That be good? But only this time, since it's up against the light, has to have a darker countenance type thing to it. And I would like to have some right in here. That way we don't have to go back and try to fill. We don't have to go back and try to fill in all these shadows, because some of these shadows can be quite monotonous and aggravating. Now when this dries and I have, well, that's going to be time consuming, and it's going to compete for the scene. Yeah, let's take it out. Let's take all this green out. That's why I love oils. You do something you don't like, and see, the glaze won't come off. The glaze is there, and we might mess around a little bit. But the glaze is still there. It's just mixed with a little bit of green now. See? So shall we leave it the way it is? We got these two. Or should I add something different with this? I know what I could do. Well, no, because it'd be in line with this. I know. I am using a number 2 filbert brush. I'm going to go into our brown, our green that we had. And I'm going to give this little guy little twigs. And yes, they're going to be in the sun. The reason they're going to be in the sun is to add a little bit more depth to my painting, my picture. A little bit of this sunlight green. Although that looks like it's competing. We'll take that out then. Take them out. See, this was a well thought out process. It's just the whole thing wasn't thought out. Only the underpainting and the glaze was really thought out. Like I said, I've been wanting to get to this ever since I underpainted it. I've been frothing at the mouth for it. So, if I mess it up, well, it's okay. It's a learning experience. But now, if you like it, and I hope you do, email me at barry.miller21@yahoo.com. All small letters. And if you would like to buy it, it's for sale. And we can talk about price if you contact me. Right in here, we're going to put some more light, because I just now noticed that it's a jutted a little bit out from the wall, so I'm going to put a little bit more white or sunlight color right here. I can sort of affix that somehow, and it can still be in shadow. It doesn't really have to be. It just has to be shadow. And my pot, my vase looks a little bit undone, but it's okay, because I will add some little white things to it, perhaps. To give it a sense of reflection, and perhaps somebody would know what this plant would be called. I don't, and I'm just painting it for a decorative measure. I'm mixing some yellow ochre and some white, just for a highlight right here, and gray, gray. Yellow ochre and a mixture of gray, light gray. I'm going to hit it right here. And I don't want the vase to be looking like just a plain vase. I want it to be something, you know, when you see it, you think, oh, that's pretty. Even though I didn't know what I was painting, you still think it's pretty, I hope. I do. I think it's very lovely. And so, giving it this way, it sort of looks like it's, perhaps it's gold or something. But because it's going to be in shadow when I do the scumbles. And of course my statue, it turned out better than I thought it would. I think the whole painting turned out better than I thought it would. But I'm looking at it with my eyes and you're looking at it with yours. It looks better on here than it does here. But I think it might just be a matter of taste, of my taste. Being my taste is wrong. More of the burnt umber. The yellow ochre, I'm going back into my warm blue. My gray blue, rather. With a little bit more orange. And that yellow ochre mixture. Dang it. I'm going to go up here in this area. And I'm going to fix it where it trails off some from the wall. But I'm doing it as though it comes towards us. It goes off in the corner somewhere. And then I'm going to bring it down to right where that first step would be. The second step, plus the third. In the same mixture, I'm going into some violet gray. And I'm sort of dissecting my step to let you know that there is another step there that I haven't given him a half a step to step on. It's just in shadow, as well as that one is. And I've also, if you notice, I've also given him a shadow, so he looks very pronounced. I think he does. Excuse me. So now I'm going to take a view of it as you would see it. I believe my shadow needs to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to go into the dark violet with my mauve stick. And I'm going to fix his shadow to where I think it should be, or how dark I think it should be. Because I did decide that he should be in the light. Simply because he's going to have a shadow regardless. But if this light's coming in this way, it's going to be hitting right here. It's not going to be hitting here because my highlights are right here. This is going to be shining in too, but this light is going to cause him to have a shadow. So therefore I put a shadow in and I put some highlights on him. Not as bright as they would be if he were in the sun, but they're still there. Because once that scumble goes over, I won't be able to get back in there and work. So that scumble goes over him, it has to put him in shadow. So if it puts him in shadow with the shadow in there, it's going to look all the more natural. If the shadow's not in there, he's going to look like he's been pasted in there. Okay. So got everything we want right now, I guess? Let me bring you a little closer so you can see it. and I hope you do enjoy it. Can you see it okay? Can you see it better? You see it the way I see it, or you see it the same way? Because I see it as unfinished, and it's just, I just don't, I like it better when it's completely done, and I can, before I scumble, go in with my, some golden colors, some bright, beautiful morning colors, and I got to do my own cameraing. Sorry, I'm using a music stand for my cameraman, and I'm using a PS Vita and a Kindle Fire for my recorders. But it's okay. I hope it's okay. So now let's work on this shadow here so it's not so pronounced. Because when that scumble goes in, like I said, that shadow's gonna be there. It's gonna be really, really hard on the eyes once that scumble goes in there. So let's we cleaned our brush with a completely dry brush. A flat. I'm using a flat. I'm going to pull this color up. Just going to lightly, ever so lightly pull this color up. I'm not going to get in no other color. I'm just trying to pull this color up. The way the wall is. Then I'm going to try to flatten that color a little bit. And you can see it some. You can see it somewhat. Looks like it goes away and it goes here only because of the man. So let's put him a little extra shadow in there. I'm going to use a round brush. I'm going to go into my dark violet, and I'm just going to touch right beside him some little places to also cut him down some. And in this, with this same brush, I'm going to pull away from him just a little bit. Does he look like he's separate? He does look like he's separate now, doesn't he? I hope so. Because I put his face in shadow, but I realized we can see his chin. So I'm going to give him a little bit of chin color. Small amount. He ain't going to have no features, of course, that we be able to tell. So I'm going into some vanillium and white. I don't want this to be bright white, and I don't really want it to be shadowed. All I want to do is suggest that he's got a chin. Get my maul stick. And see, this painting is almost completed. Hair on my brush. A loose hair. Well, I can't stand them wild road hairs. Sorry, I got to get this because it'll ruin the painting if you. I have to get that off there somehow. There, well, it's there. It's still there, but I'll cut it later. So let's just try to suggest he's got a face and a neck. Oh, my canvas holder moved. I got two of them, by the way. These are actually called, I guess, bulldog clips, used for office supplies and such, but I find them very useful in holding my canvas down. Darken that, move that in a little bit so we can see. And now he's got some sort of a coat or jacket or something with a hoodie on it, or maybe a suggestive, whatever it is. We're gonna put some highlight on it, just to make it stand out in that shadow, and only in the light parts. The light part. I'm not putting nothing in the dark part unless it's dark. And so it looks a little bit more plausible that perhaps he's taking his jacket off, or something like that. Now, for this part right here, since the light's coming in, it's going to have this part, it's going to be like this right here. We shall wait until it's completely dry for a scumble. And I hope that you've enjoyed this. I know I sure have. Breaking that shadow up some. I hope you've enjoyed this. I certainly have. I will do my level best to get these videos on YouTube as quick as possible, because I'm not very good with computers, but thank God my daughter is. So until next time, I do hope you have enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it. And happy painting. God bless.